Good morning, Story Trading VIPs. This is the exclusive show where you make sense out of markets. That's our inspiration behind story trading. Everything makes sense. Fundamentals, catalyst, sentiment, technicals, put it all together. It's not a chaotic market. It's not an inefficient market. It's a market which makes sense. That's what we're doing here every single morning, and it's working brilliantly lately. So, man, I finished talking about the macro, right? And I just want to point out, let me just scroll down to the QQQ. For those of you who have been paying close attention for the last many months, I've always said the 200-week moving average is the bullish support line right here. This purple line, that's the bullish support line. And so far it's held, right? So to me, still in a bull market. We were always in a bull market. This was just a correction from that big move last year at this point. And at this point, I'm not going to be predicting a drop below the 200-week moving average unless the data comes in, really bad data over the next couple quarters that tell us that that's in danger. So right now, at this point, I don't care about the macro anymore. When I say macro, I mean the major indices. We're back into what story trading does best, what we've been doing so successfully the last few years, stock picking, swing trading, and we got a nice window where there shouldn't be any surprises. Well, you know, there was Taiwan yesterday, but economically, geopolitically, anything can always happen. But again, no FOMC in August. We have midterms coming up, so we have a nice window, and price action has been proving it out that stocks are trading on their own merits, despite what the major indices are doing. You see lots of stocks in the green. On a green day, you can see lots of stocks in the red. You see lots of new 52-week highs. So things are going really nicely right now. Not to downplay Taiwan. It's something I actually learned a lot about yesterday. I didn't know a lot about. It's definitely a concern, I think, more for the long term, right? By the way, the price action yesterday, why was the markets down in the morning? For those of you who maybe didn't understand that, there was some fear that there would be like some sort of military retaliation imminently, you know, when Nancy Pelosi landed. So when Nancy Pelosi did land, you saw the markets take off in the morning. So that was a story there. Always a reason. Everything can make sense if you do your research. So, but Taiwan's a concern for the longer term economic relationship with China, but nothing geopolitically too bad or too imminent, I don't believe. So I'm not paying that much heed. All right, let's go right off the top of the bat. I have PayPal and SoFi there because I actually got into Square last week. I talked about MasterCard and Visa earnings potentially being a good sign for Square. There were also other technical reasons down here why I chose to get back into Square after selling it at $100 on the way up. So I missed the move from 100 to 280 and missed the move all the way down. But I did finally get back in at $75. I actually added a little bit more in after hours last night after the PayPal earnings came out. Square earnings are Thursday. Now, this is not a slam dunk by any means because Square is a much more complicated business than PayPal or Visa or MasterCard. It's not just purely transactional. They have their e-commerce platform, the Shopify part that's more similar to Shopify. And if you look at Shopify, you see that stock is down in the gutter, right? And they also have the crypto part, which crypto was not very good last quarter, most likely. So nothing's a slam dunk, but took a calculated bet there on Square, and that's moving up this morning. It's only up 4%. I think you can have an event anticipation when it's Wednesday here. Oh, earnings are ready tomorrow after the close. So I think if you want to trade this intraday, if you're into that sort of thing, probably this is something where dips are buyable as people are going to be excited to buy this up ahead of earnings tomorrow. So that's Square. And a lot of stocks, by the way, are in between the 50 and 200-day moving average. A ton of them, all of them. Basically, and that's because the QQQ is between the 50 and the 200-day moving average. So potentially in a sweet spot here in the market. 200-day moving averages. We'll talk about that then. Now, Livent, this is lithium. Lithium had a great earnings report. So over the 200-day moving average, I actually added this. I was upset I didn't have it. I looked, do I still have this? Because I do have some lithium exposure. I've been like changing my allocations over the last many months, and sometimes those LAC, sometimes LTHM. I have LIACF, LICF. So this one I didn't have, so I did buy this before earnings yesterday. It beat and raised. It is over the 200-day moving average, so hopefully I can hang on to this longer term, because this company, they're printing money. It's not like the other ones, which are more development stage. So that's a good stock, perhaps to pick up on pullbacks today if you're interested. ANDE, Matt brought this to our attention in the past, and he brought it to our attention again yesterday from our community. Great earnings. This is a grain trading company. Obviously, they're doing well because of the high grain prices. It's gapping up to the 200 DMA this morning. Listen, fundamentally, like earnings-wise, you can make an argument that this company should be $160. They're printing money hand over fist. The problem is, how sustainable is it? Is this just a temporary situation or not? So I don't know how to value this. I don't know what the market discount's going to be. So this is a little bit tricky over here. I don't have a position. I don't know how it's going to interact with the 200 DMA there. You can see it's slightly over it in pre-market, but the bid's only 38.88, which is below the 200 DMA. We'll see if we can collaborate a little bit more with Matt in our community to figure out, where he's standing. He's the expert on this stock. Again, a little tough to value. I think it's an implied PE of 5 if you analyze it. It says 13 here, but now with the latest earnings, you're down to a 5 PE if you analyze this quarter. So I'm not going to chase this, but if it gaps above it, maybe find support at the 200 DMA, might jump in. Now I'm going to spend a few minutes to talk about VTSI. This is one of the biggest, one of the more widely held stocks in the community. It was a stock that I had originally brought to the community for one of our Trade of the Week picks a couple years ago when there were some riots. Subsequently, it gained a lot of interest. I think Mark Gomes picked it up after that as like a longer-term pick I think he had presented. So this has been a core holding of mine for a couple years. Lots of opinions and drama around this regarding management. Is it the right management to grow, to take it to the next level? They also had an issue with being late filing their Q4 earnings report. They were actually 3 quarters behind. So they finally caught up. They reported Q4 yesterday, and they said they're reporting Q1 August 11th, I believe it is, in Q2 August 18th. So we're getting 3 earnings reports in 3 weeks. So let me just tell you quickly what happened with the earnings yesterday. The top line was a huge beat by 40%, 8.6 million over 6.14 million. But their earnings came in flat versus 0.5 cent estimate. Now there's only one analyst, right? But the story here is, hey, they beat big on the top line. They missed on the bottom. Why? Because their margins were a lot lower. The margins were a lot lower because they decided to go after some military business. And they said, we're going to initially, in this initial contract, we want to get our foot in the door. We're going to give them a good price so we can get in and prove ourselves to them and expand and get more military business later. So they made that strategic decision to hit margins. And that's a decision I'm okay with, particularly because a theme of the earnings call yesterday was all about military. They want to expand into military. This is a virtual reality police training company. So it's not just now for police. They're making a big effort to go into the military space, which seems like it could have a much larger TAM, or at least much larger contracts. Yesterday also, we're really in a transitional period with VTSI because we have now a co-CEO. It was the first time we heard from this co-CEO yesterday. I think it's just a transition, right? The founder, Bob Ferris, doesn't want to leave so quickly. It's his baby. So I think this move to bring on a co-CEO is a transition. I like this guy a lot. He seems like a go-getter, really focused on the military business. They're opening an office in Orlando to fetch that military business. So, and now with 2 more earnings coming up in the next 2 weeks, you have plenty of event anticipation. I bought some shares of $5.02. Someone was selling last night like 4,000 shares of 502. I grabbed it. So that's someone who may be a purely fundamental investor who cares about profits, or like, oh, these margins suck. They didn't make money. I'm selling, and I'm happy to take those shares from somebody with that mentality who is not forward thinking and is just looking at dollars and cents here. I'm looking at it more qualitatively and after, and the strategic decision, which I think is correct, to go after military. I'm looking at the strategic decision to bring in this co-CEO, which I believe will ultimately become the sole CEO within a short period of time. And to me, these are all positive developments. And because you have 2 more earnings in the next couple weeks, I think you're going to see some event anticipation price action here. I believe we can hit $6 a 200 DMA before these 2 earnings reports are fully reported and fully coming out. If there's weakness in the stock, like I took advantage last night when someone sold at 502, I am a buyer on weakness of this stock. If I'm wrong, if it doesn't move quickly up to 550 and towards 6 in the next couple weeks, if it trades down or flat or whatever, I think I'll be accumulating, because I think we are going to be heading to $5.50 and $6 even before those 2 reports fully come out. That's my opinion on VTSI. And by the way, my opinion, this is what I love about what we do at Story Trading. I care about sentiment. I care about what other investors think. A lot of my commentary here comes from other people's opinions, comes from concerns we've heard from other people, because at the end of the day, you sell your assets to other people. It doesn't really matter what you think, right? It doesn't really matter what you value the company at. We are in a market of participants with all different opinions, so it's extremely important to understand what other people think. And I think with this co-CEO coming on, one of the knocks, one of the worries other people had was, I don't like management. I don't like Bob Ferris. I don't think he can grow the company. I think yesterday we heard something that said, we are moving past that. We're transitioning. We're getting better management. We're going to now grow this company. So that's going to help this stock. I'm predicting the price action will do well because of my effort to understand other people's opinions. And that's how you understand. One of the ways that you can understand the story behind the trade, that's one of the ways you can make sense of the price action. Don't look at it strictly from fundamentals. Don't look at it strictly from technicals. Consider what other people think, understand the sentiment, and that gives you an advantage in trading the stock. So that's VTSI. All right, a few other things I want to know. Well, GEVO, I'm not in it. I keep track of it. I might reach out to Rex. I know this is one of his stocks he keeps track of in terms of potential huge moves in the future. It's over the 50 DMA. They had some news this morning. The news was Alaska Airlines, 37 million gallons over 5 years. Quantitatively, I don't know what that means for the company. I don't follow this company imminently, but I just wanted to note that we have a catalyst and we have a move yesterday over the 50 DMA, 2 of the 4 pillars. So I'm going to be maybe contacting Rex this morning to see what he thinks. Is this potentially a stock that can move towards the 200 DMA, towards $4? So that's GEVO. Celsius, I put out my, 110. Those of you who've been watching, I'm like $110. That's my initial target. Yesterday, we hit 109.74. Now, unfortunately, I was out to lunch, and I was, I don't know. I don't know what I would have done if I was at my computer watching level 2. Maybe I would have sold some as it approached 110. But, I don't do strict limit orders. I like to see the price action on level 2 and the behavior as it approaches my targets to see is it going to break that target or not. So I wasn't even at my desk, so I missed that move towards 110. It's pulled back now to 105. So this was a very, very similar chart to Clearfield, CLFD, which had the cup. This is a huge cup, right? CLFD, identical. Those of you who don't believe me here, let's take a minute and we'll look. CLFD, it's a little harder to see because it broke out of that cup. But before that cup without handle breakout was there, this chart identical to Celsius. So really, I promise you, identical. All right. So now what happens? Is Celsius going to do the same thing as Clearfield and have a cup without handle breakout? Or are we going to have like a 1-week consolidation, create that handle, and then break up? I'm very confident we will again test 110. I don't know if it's today or days or weeks, but I'm pretty confident we test 110. So I'm not like so heartbroken I didn't have a chance to sell near 110 yesterday. If we do break that 110, I'm looking at 120 or 130 possibly on that breakout. So, and we'll collaborate more with our technicians to see, maybe try to pin down an exit on that. SIGA is down this morning. I'm not so worried. I'm mostly short puts on this, and we have earnings tomorrow after the close. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised with that earnings report. A lot of shorts will be surprised. We'll see what happens. Because the stock's been up so much, I have a very small common equity position. Most of my position is in short puts. So that's the story of SIGA. Air broke out yesterday over the 200 DMA. I actually added more air yesterday as it was approaching the 200 DMA when it was like between 1285 and 1297 or so. I was adding more shares because I liked how it was behaving. This is where I was looking at level 2, and I like the RSI. I like level 2. I was thinking this is going to break the 200 DMA. Third time's the charm, right? I had 3 attempts here. The first one right here on first, and third attempt August 2nd. So I'm like, all right, we're going to break above and stay above it. So I called that one right. I added the shares below 13. So I have a nice position in this. On air at this point, I think $15 immediate, imminent. I don't want to say it. I can't time it exactly, but $15 is the next like psychological target I'm looking at. You can see there was some support here, right here in this area in December of 2021. So I think $15 is a fair place to look at. Who knows? It might get there today, but we'll see what happens. I mean, someone pointed out on our show the other night, I forgot who it was, that air, all of their contracts last year came in this period, August, September, October. And and they said also that Gain made a comment on the last conference call, apparently, that this is the season, where they sign those contracts. So maybe they'll get another big customer besides onsemi here in the next few months. So potentially, if those deals come, this can go to $20, $25, and we'll see. So I'm excited about air. Clearfield, probably the biggest winner in our community this year. Congratulations, Chris Tarbert, once again. Where did I sell something? I did sell all my trading shares at like $95, $96. So, but I have my core position in my IRA, and I think I'm just going to hold this. Not really worried about it. They're making money, recession-proof business, and we'll see where that goes. All right, a few other things I want to note out. LIACF, can this have tailwinds because of Livent today? Maybe. There's both a lithium and uranium company, but it's a exploration stage. On our show the other night on our Zoom, Tony pointed out that this catalyst here on July 14th. Hold on, do we have news? August 2nd was yesterday. Did we have news yesterday? I may have missed this. Okay, looks like we may have had news yesterday, which I missed. So we'll have to see what that's like. But they're not in money-making mode yet anyway. But anyway, July 14th was apparently a real catalyst in terms of some dig data that showed that their lithium concentrations or whatnot. I'm not an expert in mining, but that was good. So I have LIACF. Maybe this will get tailwinds from LTHM, but I did also buy LTHM yesterday since they're the ones currently making money. SMR, another one from our show the other night that Tony pointed out, the catalyst which caused this gap the other day was, again, I said this yesterday, but I say it again for those of you who missed it, the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Agency gave their approval for the safety of the design of small modular nuclear reactors, and they're good to go to start building. I think they said 30 days after receipt of this letter will be officially when these SMRs can start being built in the United States, from my understanding. And little pop this morning. So nice little stock, because I'm really bullish uranium, and this is the only play. I don't know that I'm going to sell this, even if it like goes up a lot, because it's my only exposure besides uranium of like nuclear. So, and I don't know any other nuclear pure plays like that. So just going to hold that and see what happens. INMB, I want to know, I really like the technicals here. It's up against the 20 DMA. You can see the 200 DMA and also psychological resistance at $10. INMB in the past has been one that when it breaks resistance, it moves very, very fast. Okay, so, and I've caught a couple of those right. Those were with us the last couple of years. I did catch a couple huge breakouts in INMB. And I think, technically we're right there. We interviewed Dan Carlson the other day, and he did say there's some catalysts coming up in September. Can it break that 10 DMA ahead of those catalysts? Event anticipation. Do we have to wait for those catalysts? I don't know, but I think the timing's right. I did increase my position here last week after the news came out from SAVA. The bad news for SAVA, by the way, SAVA made back all their gains from that bad news, and they're another Alzheimer's company. But anyway, if this breaks 10 and holds above 10, I think this can make a very rapid move to $15. That's huge. We're talking what? That's 50%? Is that a 50% move or 33% move? I don't know. Or whatever. Yeah, it's 50% move. Yeah. So I think that could that's something you got to keep on watch. I'm really interested. I'm going to be keeping that up on my level 2 over the next few days. IPI, this is a trade week from last week. I did sell it. It didn't quickly get to my $50 target, 50 DMA, which I was looking for last week. Made a little bit of money. Still on watch because both CF and Moss, their peers, had earnings yesterday. And IPI, I believe, is tomorrow. Now, it was mixed results from CF and Moss. CF, the juggernaut in this space, had great earnings, beat on the top and bottom line. The stock's up 2%. Moss actually missed, but they got a bunch of upgrades, even though they missed. I didn't read the report. I didn't hear the CC, but it makes sense to me. Why is the stock up? Why are the analysts get upgrades? Probably there was some good forward-looking commentary with fertilizer, these are the fertilizer companies. So, but as far as the top line, the headline results, mixed results from Moss and IPI, but these charts look really nice. And Moss and CF, I said, but IPI not as nice, but who knows? Maybe tomorrow this can break out if it has a good report. So this is something on watch. Is it worth it to take a risk and get some before the report? I think it might be, actually. I'm out of it currently, but this is something we might want to think about taking a position in. CTLP, just reiterating, this is a VIP pick recently presented from Mark Gomes. Oops, I lost my important indicators here. Let's put them back in. But just to reiterate, I'm looking for a move to the 200 DMA there. 7 plus. I did take a little bit off the table yesterday because I needed some money to put in something else, and I've been making a good profit on that. So PLAB, we're still I love PLAB. If you were with us on the Monday night show, if you weren't, take a look at the recording. I think I'm holding this right through earnings. I think I like this more than Air, a semiconductor company, and this is great. I love it. This is probably one of my favorite companies at this point. We've had multiple videos. If you don't know about it, head over to YouTube to get the story on PLAB, and also look at the recording from Monday night, available exclusively for VIPs. That's not going on YouTube. KODK, we're watching. It's been doing very well, almost kind of breaking out. I don't know, man, what's going on here, but we have earnings coming out. They just posted it yesterday. When is it going to be? Let's take a look at this press release here. August 9th, next Tuesday. So earnings are coming out next Tuesday. So getting an event anticipation move on this. I do have a big position in KODK, and that chart just looks beautiful. So we'll see what they have to report. I'll decide the day before if I want to sell any before the report. Maybe I will. And we're continuing to watch Drio. CVS had earnings this morning. By the way, CVS crushed it. The reason I'm mentioning CVS is because there's a lot of speculation that the big national insurer they have a contract with is Aetna from CVS, and hopefully we'll find out about that in the next few weeks. Earnings, maybe. At this point, let's wait for earnings and see if they give us a clue or an update on what's going on with that national insurer. But man, I didn't realize what a juggernaut CVS is. I used to work for them. Maybe I should have stayed there. I don't know. Like, oh gosh, they do like 50 billion in revenue every quarter, something crazy like that. But they are beat and raise. Hey, if you're into mega caps like that, take a look at CVS. Had a nice earnings report this morning. CFVI, I just secured an interview with the founder and CEO of Rumble, which is merging with CFVI. For more information on that, go to storytrading.com/Rumble. Storytrading.com/Rumble. Make sure to put on your calendar. You'll see the date and everything on there. It's a live stream on YouTube and Rumble. VIP members, StoryTrading VIP members will get to have their questions asked. So start submitting those questions for CFVI to me today, tomorrow, and we'll start putting that list of questions together for that interview. There's a lot of speculation on the internet because of my interview with them. It's going viral. The post both on Twitter and StockTwits. A lot of speculation that there's good news to come because they agreed to sit down with us. What was the date? I don't know. It's like in 2.5 weeks or something, mid-August. So August 18th, something like that. But there's a lot of speculation that perhaps the deal will be closed by then, or the other news to come. And maybe that speculation is valid because I've been reaching out to the CEO for months, and he just contacted me out of the blue, said, "Hey, Ben, let's talk in 2 weeks." So that may be meaningful. All right. We'll continue to monitor SMSI. Nothing going. 282. What we talked about yesterday is the price that has to break to make a move towards 3. This is crazy. All right. I don't do these kind of stocks, so I didn't comment on it much, but everyone's been watching this historic move in HKD up like from $10 to $2,500, like 2,500%. I don't know. Is it 25,000%? Who knows at this point? So crazy story with HKD. We did put a couple of articles out in the rooms explaining what's going on with HKD and parent company AMTD. But what I'm interested in, I'm not trading these, but these are IPOs, and there's been other stocks like Revlon, between like IPOs and de-SPACs, there has been, and I don't know where it's coming from, Reddit crowd, meme crowd, whatever, there has been a coordinated focus on low float plays, de-SPACs, and IPOs. And it feels to me like this is one of those periods of time where it's a trend trade where every stock gets its turn, right? I've been, and when you're in that period, again, just that's what you focus on. Every stock gets its turn. Plant a seed and wait. So we'll see what happens. I added CHWA. It's a de-SPAC here, low float. It's like 280,000 shares now with the high redemptions. There's some concern about redemption reversals, but this is about to change its ticker symbol to PET. So I added a little bit of this around 11:10 or something like that yesterday. So we'll see. And there's another one that people are talking about on the internet, LNFA. So these are just games for me, right? This is not my core portfolio. I just do this kind of stuff for fun. A little bit of CHWA. Know what you're investing in. We'll see. Same thing with OTIC. A little bit of a game for me. Penny stock. They had it crashed. It crashed the other day because of biotech, and they had their lead drug failed. But then an institutional investor came in, swooped in, took like a 9.5% stake. So the stock is up 26% this morning. I bought it in after hours last night at 34 cents. So I'm down on that. I did a little research on it this morning. I'm like, this is not the kind of company I like to hold long term. So I'm definitely selling this, win or lose today. Might lose money on it. So OTIC, I'm going to be getting rid of that. It might fly. I don't know. By the way, the stocks that make the biggest moves often have bad fundamentals, but I don't invest in those. I don't trade in those more than very small amounts. Not my shtick. All right. So be careful there. And that's it. It's 9:28. We got to get to our desks and do some trading. Let's just check, since this is a very long show, 28 minutes. Any news since we started talking in the last 28 minutes? SAVA reported. So this is interesting. SAVA's the one that lost all that on the investigation about potentially fake deal. That's SAVA. I'm interested in that because of maybe money that might flow to INMB. What's Citron saying? Oh, Citron Research tweets, HKD is not a meme stock. While sure, price is stupid. It only traded 339K shares yesterday. I did the math on that. You know how much 339K shares is? It's like over $500 million at those prices. It's so interesting. Has not captured the imagination of retail traders like Jimmy. Obviously, there is no borrow, and if so, has an egregious borrow fee. I don't know what they're trying to say. Are they trying to say it might go higher? I don't know. But you might want to take a look at that tweet from Citron. That's interesting. But yeah, only 339K shares. Come on, that's a little deceptive there at $2,500 a share. That's a lot of money. Retail traders don't have that kind of money to do huge volume. Oh, look at that. BWLKF, major accounting and consulting firm. Some news. That's a stock that we knew about from an old member of ours. So, guys, we got to go. We're going to try to do our week Zoom today, open chat Zoom at 4:30. I'll have more information in the rooms about that. Good luck today. Thanks for joining us. Take care.